Good afternoon. It's still afternoon, yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Solo ReacTalk. This afternoon, I'm going to be reacting to a video requested by 0TK1HB. Yes, hopefully I'm pronouncing your YouTube handle name correctly there. But 0TK1HB requested that I should react to Lion versus Angron, made on the DQVO YouTube channel. If you guys want to check out my previous reaction to other of DQVO videos pertaining to Warhammer 40k, especially focusing on Sanguinius, because those are the ones that I've recently watched from the YouTube channel, DQVO. Remember that my Warhammer 40k content reaction playlist card is going to be at the top right here. You'll be able to find my other reactions to DQVO's content. Yes. And yeah, if you guys want to check out the original video as well as the DQVO's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. Okay, let's start with Lion versus Angron. I know this battle already. I remember I reacted to Lionel Johnson Part 2, made on the Amber King's YouTube channel. Yes. I remember that battle, not in detail. I remember Lionel Johnson bashing the Emperor's shield into Angron's face. Yeah, I remember that part. Okay, let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
Supreme Grandmaster Azrael.
Supreme Grandmaster. Oh, the chapter master of the Dark Angels. Okay. Chapter master, Dark Angels chapter. Okay.
Fought his way forward through a screaming press of heretics.
Yeah.
The sky above was a churning storm of burning petrochemical clouds and blistering dogfights. Gunfire, clashing blades, and bellowed oaths blended into a deafening cacophony. Azrael's armor was drenched in gore, as was the bone-white plate of the Terminators and Blade Guard who fought at his side. Corpses crunched and squelched under their every advancing footfall.
Ew. Ew. Oh my gosh. Like, how are you supposed to fight against your enemies and then you just hear and, you know, all these sounds as you're running, you're ducking, you're diving, you're just smearing yourself on the blood and the gore that's on the floor. Ew.
Guns thundering, fists and blades swinging, the Deathwing hurled back the cultist mobs and butchered them to the last man and woman.
These cultist mobs must be corn worshippers. Yeah.
Azrael led his warriors up a wide metal ramp riveted together with bone. Pistons strung with pumping muscle formed a wall to one side, while to the other the ramp dropped away towards a valley of iron and crumbling stone, where loyalists and heretics battled furiously amidst ever-churning machines. Azrael's instinct was to turn and aid his battle brothers, but with Vox and Auspex useless, he had to reach high ground to regain clarity on the wider strategic situation.
Good decision right there. I agree.
Striding over a carpet of the broken dead, Azrael crested the ramp and marched out onto a wide open platform. He ignored the blood-wet clots of machinery that jutted from the platform's surface.
Blood for the Blood God.
And the yellow eyes set into their dripping flanks that swiveled to follow his advance. Moving to the platform's edge, where a nest of rustled gantries and stairways led back down to the street level below, He stared out across the heaving turmoil of the battle. On the right flank, Samael and his Raven Wing had cut deep into the foe's lines and encircled a swath of tech mutants and cornate renegades near the foot of a clockwork edifice. The swift Space Marines were even now culling their victims mercilessly.
Tech mutants. Are they like Mechanicus? Yeah, like Mechanicus or maybe Mechanicum. Servants of Corn, probably. Yeah, alright.
The left flank, by comparison, had developed into a ferocious firefight, as Dark Angel's armor met stalking Chaos Knights amidst crumbling Gothic towers and thundering engines of iron and bone. Ahead, Azrael could see red armored figures battling one another furiously, as the Blood Angels and the World Eaters clashed in dozens of separate conflicts. The curled spines of the Warp Forge Palace loomed overhead, looking more arachnid and menacing than ever.
This place where they're battling in, it's like a twisted, warped version of Caliban, right? Yes, I could be wrong about that, but I think I'm right. If I'm not, guys, in the comment section, correct me, because I'm still trying to remember what I've heard in my previous reaction in the Amber Kings video on Lionel Johnson. Yeah, but I think they are fighting in some sort of warped dimension of some sort that's looking similar to Caliban. I could be wrong about that, but
For all the dark grandeur of this spectacle, Azrael's attention was drawn to the ruined top of the high tower, now less than a quarter of a mile away, where the elite of the Blood Angels fought Angron.
Dante's not here yet, is he? He's gonna come with the Primarch. I think, yeah.
The fury of that fight had blown out walls and sent avalanches of masonry raining down into the street around the tower. Angron and his enemies now battled in full view between the surreal remnants of interior walls, columns, and denuded stairways. Corpses clad in red or gold armor were scattered everywhere. Azrael wished for a moment that his vision was not so keen, for it showed in inescapable detail the catastrophic wounds that had reduced once proud warriors to so much mangled metal and meat. Some bodies even dangled from lengths of twisted rebar that jutted from the walls, impaled with tremendous force, and left to hang like trophies.
Skulls for the Skull Throne.
The Redemptor Dreadnought sprawled, burned and broken against a shattered column. Rich red blood coated every surface and drooled in clotted ropes down the tower's walls.
This is heaven. For the Corn worshippers, this is heaven right here.
Angron was himself torn and blooded, his armor buckled, greasy smoke boiling from the flames that licked at his wings. Yet where he had butchered almost all of his attackers, their efforts to banish him had not even slowed the Red Angel.
I think we're going to need some heavy weapons. Well, the Dark Angels don't know that their Primarch is coming. But I'm just saying, if the Primarch was not coming here, they were going to need heavier weapons to take down Angron. Definitely. I don't know what versions or types of weapons exactly. I'm not really an expert, but maybe something even close to Titans. Warlord Titans. just to make sure. Okay? Just to make sure.
Angron fought like a bloody whirlwind, wheeling, hacking, stomping and roaring as he sought to slaughter the last of the warriors who opposed him. Even as Azrael watched in dismay, the Demon Primarch's axe ripped through Commander Dante's personal banner-bearer.
Dante! Oh, personal banner. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about you too, but yeah, Dante shouldn't die. Not yet. Sanguinius has plans for him.
Hurled the bifurcated sanguinary guard across the tower. Fresh blood soaked into the fallen standard where it lay. Desperate to aid the Blood Angels, appalled at the price they had paid in their attempt to aid his warriors, Azrael raised Lion's wrath and opened fire upon Angron. The Deathwing needed no order to follow his lead. A fusillade of fire split the air between the platform and the tower top, deadly accurate despite the range. Angron roared in fury as he was peppered with rounds, some of which ripped through his corporeal form in gouts of molten gore. As the demon Primarch whirled towards his new attackers, a golden-armored figure rocketed from atop a broken stairway and swung his glowing axe at Angron. Fast as fury, the demon Primarch spun, ignoring the Dark Angel's firestorm as he parried Commander Dante's attack.
Commander Dante!
A shockwave exploded out as Spinegrinder met the Axe Mortalis. Angron staggered back from the exchange. Dante, by comparison, was smashed from the air and
Oh man.
into the steps, hard enough to crack them. He lay still and did not rise.
Well, he is an old man now, like very, very, very old. Very old. So it's going to take him time to get up, but he will. He must get up.
Azrael cried out in dismay as Angron threw back his head and roared his triumph. The Blood Angel's chapter master lay defenseless before him, open to the killing blow.
Get up, Dante.
Yet as Azrael watched, powerless, shadows suddenly coiled about the Red Angel and his victim. Tendrils of mist obscured the figures, and from amidst the vapors spread incongruous green shoots of what looked to Azrael like plant life. Shifting shapes unfurled, resembling nothing so much as a sketch of a dream of half-remembered trees, their dense boughs more shadow than substance. In the next instant, Azrael's bewilderment gave way to awe. A tall figure in a flowing cloak stepped from the mists to place himself between Angron and Dante.
My little brothers, I have returned. My little brothers, I have returned to lead you once more.
Space Marines in black armor manifested around him and spread out down the steps. But Azrael barely noticed them. He could only stare at the warrior with the glowing blade and glinting shield. It did not matter that Azrael had only seen him before in tapestries, frescoes, and stained glass.
None of that compares to the real deal. None of it compares to the real deal. And you know, from your body, from your, what do they call it again? Your gene seed. You know, it just sings, it reverberates. It's like, oh, there is someone here. There is someone here. It's our father. He's here. He's right here.
His very blood knew this warrior's identity. His gene seed sang with the truth. Teetering as close to being overwhelmed as it was possible for a Space Marine to come, Azrael went to one knee. He was looking at the lion.
Lionel Johnson.
Turned to his gene sons at the hour of their greatest need. Some part of Azrael squirmed with dread, for the Primarch had also returned in time to witness the sins of the unforgiven writ large. His mind whirled with self-recriminatory images. The rock, defiled by invasion. Luther's escape. The horrors unleashed by the Tukultur engine. Yet even these memories could not undermine the surge of raw vitality and exultation that galvanized Azrael at the sight of the lion, alive.
I'm sure the Ultramarines were also going through the same sort of emotions, when the Chaos Forces were landing on what's the home world of the Ultramarines again? I forgot the name. Oh no! Oh my gosh! Is it Hera? No, that's the Fortress of Hera. I forgot the name of their planet, but yes, the Ultramarines were probably in the same situation, as they see their father, coming out from that mausoleum where he was kept, and for them to realize that their father's walking amongst them once more, and the planet is in utter chaos. The Chaos Forces are just running amok, and they're destroying, they're killing, and here is their father, and probably they must have felt like we failed Rubute Gilliman, by him seeing the destruction on his homeworld. Yeah, so probably Azrael is feeling something similar to what the Ultramarines felt when Rubute Gilliman finally returned. Yeah. What's the name of their planet? I forgot. I'll remember. Just give me some time.
Returned.
Ultramar! No, Ultramar is the name of the sector. Oh. Okay. Let's continue. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
The battle brothers of the Dreadwing bellowed amazed oaths as word spread from one band of Dark Angels to the next. The survivors of the strike force surged into their foes with redoubled zeal. The top of the tower, even Angron had paused to glare at his former brother.
I don't even think Angron really recognizes Lionel Johnson as a brother. He, probably in his vision, he just sees some brilliant light, That's all he sees. He just sees some sort of light that's in front of him, but he can't really tell, that it's his brother. He just sees an enemy that's shining brightly lit. Yeah. I don't think he actually recognizes his brother as his brother. He just sees him as a target to kill.
Yet the spell was broken as the Red Angel howled and launched himself at the lion. Their mighty blades clashed again and again, sparks raining from each impact. The sword Samniarius struck the lion's shield and rebounded in a concussive pulse of light and force. Several of the black-armored space marines who accompanied the lion lunged to take advantage of the opening in the demon Primarch's guard, and only now did Azrael register with disquiet their resemblance to warriors of the Fallen. Angron swept Spinegrinder in a roaring arc, and bloodied corpses scattered away from him. Azrael saw the lion bark an order, and suddenly the black-armored warriors melted away down the tower steps towards the battle below.
Oh, sorry. Yes. What was I saying? Yes, I will deal with this. The rest of you deal with the traitor forces. I think that's what the lion is saying. Yeah.
The lion now backed away from his foe, and Angron stormed after him. Azrael realized this was no retreat, but rather an attempt to draw Angron away from the fallen Dante. Back and forth across the tower top, the two demigods battled, Angron raining a constant storm of blows upon his foe, while the lion demonstrated sublime martial skill in fending off or evading every strike. Flames and roiling mist whirled about the two combatants, tattering apart each time another shockwave burst from the lion's shield. Azrael was torn away from the spectacle as a hail of bolt shells whipped up from below to ricochet from the Deathwing Terminator's formidable armor.
Azrael, you gotta focus so that you can survive and that you can actually stand in front of your father and talk to him. focus. You still have a fight to battle here. So, focus.
Vox amplified hells rose, warning of a fresh band of World Eaters storming up the gantries from street level to assault Azrael's position.
Kill the traitors.
He realized he'd been entranced by his Gene Sire's arrival, but that there was a battle to be fought.
Exactly, like I said, focus.
In the here and now. But even as he rose and let fly into the foes climbing up from below, Azrael could not deny himself a last glance at the tower top. He was in time to see the lion backing towards the edge of the tower, trading blows with Angron, still fighting defensively as though to goad his berserk opponent. Between one blade swing and the next, Al Johnson looked directly at Azrael, and their eyes locked.
Whoa! He's probably like, little brother, I see you. I see you.
The sensation of his Primarch's regard hit Azrael like a physical blow. Fire seemed to race through his veins. No words could they exchange. Yet in that moment the Supreme Grand Master knew precisely what his Gene Sire wished of him. Al Johnson was risking himself to draw the rampaging demon Primarch away, not only from his own scions, but from the Blood Angels also. That left Commander Dante, and any others of his honor guard who might still cling to life, lying wounded amidst the ruins. There was a blood debt here, a matter of honor and duty that the Dark Angels could not ignore. Azrael had his quest from his liege lord, and he would see it completed. Whatever came after, he would deal with it, if he lived that long. The lion leapt from the tower top and vanished from sight. Roaring his hate, Angron lunged in pursuit. Brandishing the Sword of Secrets, Azrael stepped forth to meet his own onrushing foes.
For the lion! For Khan!
Bellowed. His war cry was taken up by the Deathwing, and then by all the Dark Angels fighting in the Warp Forge Palace. Soon, the air rang with their shouts, even over the thunder of battle and the endless churning of the planet's infernal machines.
For the lion!
For Khan!
And the Emperor!
I don't know if the World Eaters would, scream out Angron's name. For Angron! I don't think they would do something like that. Maybe they would, I don't know. Alright guys, that was part 1 of Angron, the Lion versus Angron. And now we're going to continue with part 2. Yes, I'm continuing on the same video with part 2. I'm not sure why DVQO, cut it into 3 pieces. I'm not entirely sure on the reason, but I'm going to, connect part 1, part 2, and part 3 into one video. Yes, so let me just get part 2 of this fight. Is it this one? Yes. Okay. Oh, the duel.
The Warp Forge Palace heaved with obscene life. Sinewy, gore-wet flesh surged from grates and valves, strung through with sparking wires, glowing eye lenses, and gnashing metal fangs. Roadways cracked down their middles, then yawned open like mile-long trapdoors, spilling battling warriors and vehicles down into furnace pits where cogs gnashed and piston-driven crushers pulverize metal, flesh, and souls. High overhead, the arachnoid spines creaked into motion, their tips curled down and inward like the mandibles of a vast insectile maw. Gunships and flying demon engines were smashed from the air by the descending masses of metal and muscle. Shadows pooled about doomed combatants who looked up in despair before they were crushed.
Man, this battlefield, I don't think any Imperial Guard regiment should be involved in this. This is Astartes business. This is totally Astartes business. No human being should be here. No one. I don't care how important you are or how powerful you are. You're still a human being. And this place is just, it's not meant for us. This is meant for the super soldiers to deal with. Yeah. Oh.
Through it all, battled Angron and the Lion. Al Johnson was disgusted by his former brother's hideous form, contemptuous of the monster Angron had made of himself, yet he did not underestimate the supernatural might that dark apotheosis had granted the demon Primarch.
Lionel Johnson, you haven't seen Martarian. You haven't seen Martarian. Please. 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 Okay, Angron is medium. Okay? He's not really disgusting. He just looks like a demon, really. Martarian is a different case altogether. Until you see him, then you'll realize that Angron is just... he's average. He's average compared to his brother Martarian. Oh, gosh. Oh. The best looking demon Primarch is definitely Fulgrim. He's cool. You know, the way he slithers around with his forearms. Yeah, he kind of looks cool. All these other ones, I am not sure, hey? I'm not sure.
The Lion fought with every iota of skill he possessed, channeling all the lessons he had ever learned about combating wild and warp-tainted beasts. For his part, Angron felt little beyond the furious pounding of the butcher's nails. He dimly recognized the Lion, but Al Johnson was just another foe to be slain.
Yeah, Angron is a beast. And Lionel Johnson has fought against beasts before on his homeworld of Caliban. So he will just have to treat his brother as a beast. You'll have to trap him. You'll have to, lead him on to a trap of some sort. Put him into a position where he thinks he is in the advantage, when in actual fact, it's a trap meant to kill him. He's a beast.
An eternity of unending rage and hate had blunted the Red Angel's capacity to revile one enemy more than any other. Angron would take his once brother's head for corn, just as he had taken those of so many of the Lion's gene sons already this day. The two demigods fought their way across a mechanical plateau, where piston columns pounded maniacally, and jets of white-hot flame erupted from hidden apertures. Angron sought to lop Al Johnson's head from his shoulders, but fealty was there to block the blow. Samniarius rebounded again from the Emperor's shield, and as the shockwave drove Angron back, the Lion seized the chance to duck around a pummeling row of pistons and gain some space.
What I'm realizing is that in this battle, no one's talking. No one is talking here. You know, when it was Martarian and Robuta Gilliman, they were talking, for a few minutes, and then they went to battle, and then they talked again, then they went to battle again. But here, there is no talking. It's straight up blade against blade, shield against blade, fighting. Yeah.
Angron dropped his head and bawled straight through the slabs of machinery. He bellowed as he wrenched aside sparking mechanisms and hacked apart steel-braided sinew, only to recoil as the lion smashed the Emperor's shield into his face. L. Johnson retreated again, a strategy cohering in his mind as he clattered down a spiraling brass stairway. He was gaining a sense of his foe. Angron was a devastatingly powerful and unrelenting enemy, but the lion thought he knew how he might defeat his former brother. His train of thought was disrupted as the stairway gave a violent lurch. Looking up, L. Johnson saw Angron had taken to the air, letting his weapons dangle from their chain manacles as he grasped the stairway's superstructure, then wrenched the entire edifice away from the side of the mechanical plateau. With an oath, the lion leapt clear as the spiral stair buckled under its own weight and collapsed. He dropped, cloak rippling behind him, and landed atop the roof of a Gothic ruin. Despite the tumorous masses of biotechnology that grew from it, L. Johnson felt a horrible sense of familiarity as he
Yeah, well, it is kind of like Caliban, right?
glanced around the crumbling rooftop and saw the hooded statues that dotted it. He did not know precisely what this structure had been, but he recognized the architectural style of Caliban before Imperial compliance. The lion had no time for bitter reflection.
Angron is coming.
Angron fell upon him like a roaring thunderbolt, spat from the skies of dancing flame. The Primarch's weapons clashed and clashed again as the lion gave ground before his enemy's brutal onslaught. Lost to rage Angron might have been, but hard-wired instinct, coupled with the dark gifts of his patron god, lent him tremendous martial skill. Unleashing a flurry of blows upon the lion, he forced open a gap in his opponent's guard before landing a kick to L. Johnson's chest that cracked his armor and threw him through a statue with punishing force.
Imagine you're being kicked with one of those hooved feet. Yikes.
Sensing what was coming next, L. Johnson kept rolling even as Angron's axe slammed into the rooftop where he'd been a split second before. Reaching the roof's edge, the lion threw himself out into thin air and dropped onto a tilted metal platform some 30 feet below. He rolled with the impact and came up in a guard stance, shooting a quick look at his surroundings as he did so. The sight that greeted him was a surreal one. This region of the Warpforge Palace appeared to have contorted atop vast, unseen gimbals, though what had been a flat plane of riveted metal plates had now become a treacherous landscape of steeply angled ramps. Crackling energy pylons thrust skyward from between the crooked plates. It looked as though loyalist and heretic war engines had been dueling here before the cataclysmic awakening of the planet began. Dark Angels and World Eater battle tanks lay helpless where they'd been hurled onto their roofs, or blazed where they'd been smashed together, or had slid into contact with the lightning-wreathed pylons. 4 tanks and a handful of staggering Chaos Knights were still mobile. Some crews looked to be falling back, trying to maneuver their vehicles onto more stable ground.
And this is why I'm saying, Imperial Guard regiments should not be having any, interaction in this type of battle. If they find themselves in this type of situation, just wait. Don't go anywhere. Just stay where you are. Let the Astartes do their job. If they fail, then by all means charge. Go forward. But for now, if there's any human being that is not tainted by corruption, just stay where you are. Okay? Just stay where you are. Because this place is it's crazy.
Others, prizing hatred or vengeance, even over life, fought on as best they could, even as their war engines slid inexorably towards oblivion. Angron swooped from atop the Gothic ruin and fell upon the lion again. This time, Al Johnson was prepared. Dropping to one knee, he raised the Emperor's shield and caught the full force of Angron's meteoric descent upon it. Golden energy erupted in a tremendous shockwave, and the Red Angel was hurled back to smash down amidst the precariously battling war machines. If the lion had expected a moment's respite from this gambit, he was disappointed. Angron rose with an incensed howl and hurled a World Eater's predator towards the lion with an underhand swing of his axe. Seeing the improbable projectile coming, Al Johnson dove aside. However, he was not quick enough to avoid the next tank. A Dark Angel's impulsor that Angron sent slamming and bouncing end over end in his direction. The vehicle hit the lion and smashed him back into the wall of the Gothic ruin.
Sometimes I forget how big these Primarchs are. The fact that they're throwing each other with vehicles. This is crazy.
Hard enough to crater the stonework. Angron held and charged, beating his wings to give himself more impetus. Blooded and in pain, but knowing he had moments to act, the lion heaved aside the crumpled wreck of the impulsor and leapt atop it. He spared a moment for his Gene-sons, slain within the ruined vehicle.
I shall avenge you, my little brothers.
And anger smouldered within him. Angron leapt to strike, and the lion dove aside, leaping away from the wreck and hammering the Emperor's shield into the back of Angron's skull as he went. Propelled forward by the blow, the Red Angel smashed headlong into the ruin and was buried in an avalanche of rubble.
Angron.
As the wall came down upon him. Al Johnson backed swiftly away, limping slightly, dimly aware of tanks still dueling around him, even as he kept his attention on the rubble heap. He knew Angron could not be so easily defeated, but he hoped at least to have wounded his former brother.
No, it doesn't work that way with him. He can regenerate. Sanguinius found that out the hard way. You know, he was also cutting him up, you know, stabbing him with his spear, doing all that he could. He just regenerated. Angron, he just regenerated from all of those wounds. It has to be something fatal, and it has to be on the head. Either you pull out the butcher's nails like Sanguinius, or you bash in his head with your father's shield. Yeah, that's fatality right there.
If nothing else, the ignominy of being buried alive would have stoked Angron's fury to new heights, something the lion was counting on.
Yeah, he's a beast, so beasts are predictable. You gotta make him do beastly things.
The rubble heap erupted. Flaming chunks of masonry rocketed through the air, several striking tanks with the force of wrecking balls. Angron came at the lion in a red blur, eyes blazing hate, weapons swinging wildly. So sudden and ferocious was the assault that even Al Johnson could not react in time. He managed to bring the Emperor's shield up between himself and Angron, but the angle was poor, and the titanic discharge of energy threw him backwards as violently as his foe. The ground fell away beneath the lion as he tumbled back, then down into the fume-wreathed gulfs beneath the tilted platforms. Angron bellowed a war cry and plunged after him.
The battle continues. Part 3. Let me see if I can get it. This one, right? No, that's part 1. Sorry. Yes, part 3.
The lion battled Angron through Stygian industrial depths. They dueled amidst strata of grinding machinery and writhing muscle, dancing lightning and roaring balefires. The closer one drew to the core of Wormwood, the further one slid through the veil between real space and the warp, so that soon empiric currents flowed about the two battling demigods. Where Angron's weapons struck home, they manifested fiery blasts of hate to scorch the lion's skin. Where Al Johnson flowed around his berserk foe's attacks, his cunning became writhing tendrils of mist and smothering shadow groves that confounded the Red Angel. Diminutive robed figures peered from between the ghostly trees here and there, but at Angron's approach, they vanished back into the shadows. The dueling foes entered a region of demonic furnaces and biomechanoid assembly lines where tormented souls were being bound into runic blades and firearms. Hissing overseers watched the fight warily, their sinewy whips coiled as though wishing to lash out and taste the demigod's blood.
Hey, get back to work. Stop focusing on the Primarchs. Get back to work.
Onward battled Angron and the lion, ploughing through curtains of flayed skin and onto a wide circular plane of steel whose surface flowed into screaming faces and clawing hands. Al Johnson staved off another ferocious onslaught by Angron, parrying aside a decapitating strike and deflecting spine grinder with the Emperor's shield.
Man, Angron really wants to cut off your head. He's really focusing on that on that area. Everywhere else is just secondary. The first target is the head. Yeah.
Then came a waterfall roar of discharging steam, a vertiginous lurch as the battlefield, in truth the top of a titanic piston, hurtled up and up. As poison-hued daylight returned, the lion ran and threw himself clear of the piston's top before it could plunge into the depths again. Back on the demon world's surface, Al Johnson now found himself amidst a maze of pipes and heaving fleshy mounds, whose translucent skin revealed glowing wires and toothy maws within. These grotesque hillocks belched vari-coloured warp smog in such vast quantities that the air was thick with it, and visibility reduced to a matter of feet.
Keep your mask on, Lionel Johnson. Don't take it off.
Even for those with a Primarch's supernatural senses. The lion could hear more of the colossal pistons hissing and banging up and down nearby. From somewhere overhead came the monotonous whump of huge turbine blades, though they did nothing to clear the omnipresent miasma. The clangor of battle was just barely audible. It echoed weirdly through the smog from far away. The lion smiled mirthlessly, for here was the perfect environment for the culmination of his strategy.
Really? Okay.
He faded into the smog an instant ahead of Angron, who howled with fury to find his opponent vanished. The Red Angel was by now apoplectic. Though incapable of feeling fatigue, Angron was not accustomed to the mounting frustration of fighting one opponent for so long, while they maintained a relentlessly defensive stance. He had claimed no skulls and shed only the merest drops of blood for what felt like an eternity. The insistent pounding of the butcher's nails suffused his being with white, hot agony. His capacity for reason had been drowned in molten fury and pain. To find his foe vanished, then, was near unbearable.
Oh, Angron. Please, Lionel Johnson, just give him some time, to rest. Finish the job, kill him. And then he can rest just for a while before he returns, in the warp.
Angron could scent the lion's potent biology and the lapping powders of his armor. He could hear the Primarch's heartbeats, his footfalls, the the servo whine of his battle plate. He glimpsed the furnace-like beacon of Al Johnson's soul burning in his warp sight, yet the phantasmic smog occluded even Angron's demonic senses. The lion, for his part, had less trouble keeping track of a foe that roared and snarled oaths and imprecations with every heaving breath. Angron hacked at half-imagined geists and bellowed with rage. In response, the lion surged suddenly from the flank and struck with the Emperor's shield, sending Angron recoiling into the air with wings beating. The demon Primarch lunged, but Al Johnson was gone again into the fumes. Angron thundered after his prey. Again the lion evaded, struck, and faded back from his enemy's lightning-fast counterattack. In his mind he fought monsters again in the mist-wreathed Calibanate forests. The few times Angron landed a blow, the Emperor's shield was always there to block it and send the demon Primarch reeling back. All the while, Angron's rage mounted until it danced across his body as spectral flame. His muscles and eyes bulged as though he might literally burst from the anger swelling within. Then came a piston, rushing up from the depths and discharging steam as it slammed to a halt at its apogee.
Let me guess, he's caught in that steam.
For a moment, it blasted aside the veil of smog. The lion was revealed in the act of slipping around Angron's flank for yet another goading strike.
I found you!
There was no thought, only the primal urge to kill. As Angron beat his wings and hurled himself at the lion like a living avalanche. He swung his weapons in wide arcs as he came, aiming to scissor them through Al Johnson's neck in a move no shield could possibly block. Yet this time, the lion made no effort to defend. With blistering speed, he instead dropped to one knee, braced his blade with his whole body, and let Angron slam straight into its raised point. The demon Primarch's own impetus drove the glowing blade up through his torso until it erupted from the nape of his neck in a fountain of gore.
We're almost there. We are almost there.
Borne on by the force of Angron's charge, the two demigods rolled and bounced through the fumes. Angron came to rest on his back, one wing pinned under him, his corporeal form unable to re-knit its calamitous wound with fealty still transfixing it. The Red Angel thrashed and howled. One clawed hand dug into his wounded sternum in search for the blade's ichor-slick grip. The lion loomed over Angron, armor bloodied and dented. He gripped the Emperor's shield with both hands and gave Angron no time to react. With a roar, Lionel Johnson brought the glowing edge of his shield down upon the demon Primarch's head, driving it through the bridge of Angron's nose with such force that it embedded itself in the metal surface beneath.
It is finished.
Angron's corporeal form detonated like a tank round whose propellant was distilled hate, blasting his animus apart with such a tremendous force of released rage that even the demon Primarch's indomitable will could not draw it back together.
Well, Angron, at least you'll get to rest from this entire altercation. You know, the butcher's nails were really pushing you here, with this battle against your brother. You were really frustrated, really in so much pain and suffering. At least now, a little bit of respite before you come back.
Al Johnson was thrown clear of the blast and came back up with his cloak smouldering and his cracked armor scorched. Breathing hard, his body racked with the pain of countless wounds sustained while battling Angron, he limped back to the blood-streaked crater in which fealty lay. As he recovered his blade, the lion felt certain that he would see his former brother again.
Of course. Of course. Of course. Any of the demon Primarchs, you'll see them again. And again. And again. And again. And again. And again. And again. Oh. Until the Emperor returns and he makes a plan of some sort this is your life. This is your life now. You'll be fighting your brothers until your father returns.
Likely sooner than he might hope. For now, though, Angron was banished. The lion sighed and shook his head. He turned his armor's vox bead to the Dark Angel's command channel.
My little brothers, Angron has been defeated. Gather around. Me, your father. No. Wait, does he allow them to call him their father? I think so, yes. But then, Lionel Johnson, instead of calling his Astartes sons, like all the other Primarchs, he calls them little brothers. So that's why I'm just wondering, does he allow his Astartes to call him brother, like big brother, elder brother? I'm not sure about that. But yeah, okay.
And listened intently, hefting blade and shield. The Primarch set off south towards the nearest extraction site. As he limped along, he considered his deeds this day, his choice of his gene sons over the wider galaxy. He had so much to tell them, so much to do. It was time to rejoin his unforgiven sons, and to begin the work of ensuring his sacrifices had not been in vain.
Yes, guys, that is it with the the Lion versus Angron parts, part 1, 2, and 3, made on the DQVO YouTube channel and requested by 0TK1HB. Yes. Yeah. I really still feel very sorry for Angron. The fact that he's going through this sort of ordeal, this torment, and there is no escape for him. His other brothers, they are going through their own personal pain, and journeys. But with Angron, it's just different. It's just very different. The fact that he has these butcher nails that just continuously influence his actions, no matter what or how he does it. And the fact that his mind is almost absent of memories, of any sort of connection with anything and anyone. He is just existing purely to kill. Kill. He's a beast. He's a beast that is chained by Khorne. It's his attack dog, essentially. The other brothers who are demon primarchs, at least they still have their own agency to some degree, and they're able to formulate their ideas and their consciousness. Angron can't do any of that. He is just this attack dog that is let loose on anything that moves, and he kills it for the Black God. So I really do feel sorry for Angron, that he is going through all of this suffering. There was no escape for him on Nuceria. There was no escape for him in the Imperium of Man. There is no escape for him now as a demon primarch of Khorne. So yeah, at least Lionel Johnson could give him a bit of a rest before he returns into some sort of corporeal form in the warp. Yeah. Azrael, the Supreme Grand Master or Chapter Master of the Dark Angels. Yeah. the way his blood, his gene seed just, started to awaken the moment his Primarch just appeared. I'm sure he was just, he's feeling some sort of emotion that we cannot really describe. I don't think any human being, any normal human being could ever feel what what an Astartes is feeling once they see their Primarch. It's more than just seeing your parent. It's more than just seeing your loved one. You know, this is something else. This is something else. The fact that there's a battle happening all around him, but, you know, he's so transfixed on his Primarch. You know, it doesn't matter if someone shoots at his arm or takes a shot at his head. You know, he's going to just look at his Primarch until he's snapped out of it by either his Primarch or, you know, just by the explosions that are happening around him. So yeah, the fact that Azrael was in this trance, you know, as he saw his Primarch, it is just telling the power of the gene seed and, you know, the indoctrination of these Astartes, you know, how they were developed and created to, you know, follow the rules or follow the laws or the commands of their Primarchs, no matter what, you know. And it also just shows that those who were able to defy their Primarchs, especially during the Horus Heresy, they were very special. Their will was very strong for them to, you know, withstand this type of aura and emotions they might be feeling once they're near their Primarch. It just shows that those Astartes who, you know, turned against their Primarchs during the Horus Heresy were very strong-willed, and, you know, it's not something that every Astartes can do. Yeah, because many of the traitor legions followed their Primarchs to the T. They never questioned, they never doubted, they loved their Primarchs, and it just shows that sort of compulsion, that sort of indoctrination that has been put into the Astartes. And Azrael is also just another perfect example, you know, of the fact that he's around in a battlefield, but he can only see his Primarch. He could die at that very second. He doesn't care. He can see his Primarch. You know, it just shows how powerful it is. And yeah, the fight between Angron and the Lion was also very much of a textbook type of scenario for Lionel Johnson, because he has experience fighting against very powerful beasts on his homeworld of Caliban, and he just classified his brother in that same sort of way, where he does not see him as a strategist or as a brother, you know, that could think and, you know, formulate his own plans. He just sees him as a beast that would attack, you know, as soon as he gets the chance. So yeah, Lionel Johnson, you know, was calm. He made sure that the Emperor's Shield was always going to be there to defend him against very lethal blows from Angron. And he bided his time. He conserved his energy. And when he saw that opportunity for his trap to be laid and to be set, he did it. He executed the plan. Voila. Head smashed in. Angron is gone. He's going to go rest, and he'll come back maybe in the next 100 years or something. I don't know. So yeah, this was a good, battle that DQVO has narrated here of the Lion and Angron. And yeah, thank you very much to DQVO for making this video. And also thank you to 0TK1HB for the request. It's been really entertaining, and hopefully you guys also enjoyed my reaction to it. And yeah, that is it. Remember, if you want to check out the original videos as well as DQVO's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. I'm also going to put all of the links for part 1, part 2 and part 3 in the description below, just so that you don't get lost if you want to check out the original videos. And yeah, if you like my reaction, give it a like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I'll see you guys in the next Warhammer 40k video. Okay.